Oh, you're kidding me. Right down to the end. That's how it goes, I guess. Put the dang tape on backwards. Good morning. If you saw the thumbnail and the title of the video, you already know what we're working on and kind of what it's going to look like. So we are working on our gas line today. We have to run our gas line in the attic. We have to put a stub out on this side of the house where our tank is going to be. So I'll kind of show you. Excuse the dirt on the window, but that big white tree is where the pond is. And then to the right of that is where that old barn was that we ripped down. So our tank is going to be right out there. So what we're going to do out there is we're going to start with a 500 gallon above ground tank. Eventually we'll do a 1,000 gallon in-ground tank. But we need to decide whether or not that tank is going to run our shop or just the house and put another one. So we're not going to go ahead and bury a tank yet because we could always get bigger. It just kind of depends. We don't have natural gas out here. We only have propane, LP. So we're going to have a stub out on that side of the house, and then we're going to run a gas line up, a 10-foot stick of black iron pipe. It'll go up, and then we'll go through the attic all the way over into the garage, and then that's where our manifold will be. We'll do a stub out or an end for the stove here. We'll do one for the HVAC. Our initial HVAC is going to be electric, but we'll put an option there for gas in case we do that in the future. And then we'll have one coming down for the dryer, and then the rest of it will be for the water heater, and that stuff will be in the garage. We decided to run black iron pipe for the entire thing instead of CSST, just because the cost of the CSST is more, but the black iron pipe is better in my opinion for something like that, and there's no issues with it. So that's what we'll run down to everything, and then we'll run CSST probably to the utilities from there. So we need to get our first piece put into the girts.
No, it's not going to be loud. Not that loud. Now let's stick a pencil through, huh? So we can find our hole. Where is it? Let's go on the inside and see, okay? Let's go. Come on. I see it. It's over here. Hey, lady. You see it? Where is it? You see it? Where is it?
Where's it? Right there. It's loud.
Uh-oh. You got it. Good job. There we go. We found it. You gonna put it back in? Okay, then put it back in.
Good.
Good? Oh, we're gonna cover it back up. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okay, Papa gotta put a pipe through here now, okay?
Oh,
All right, so we're through. We got our hole drilled, as you saw, and we got it cleaned out of the spray foam. So we're gonna use a 12-inch piece to stub out of the wall. That'll leave us threads on the outside for the propane company to make their connection. We need to put a 90 on this though, so that then we can go up into the attic. So we got some pipe dope here. Messy, nasty stuff that we're gonna put on here. And make sure we get it all the way around. And I'm also gonna use tape. Not necessary to use both, but I'm going to. So I just want to make sure that there's nothing down inside the threads or inside the pipe, because that could get sucked up into a valve and wouldn't be good. Get a big valve. All right, so we're gonna take our 90 now, and we can thread that on. So this first one is easy because I can turn the pipe. After that, it's not as easy. So we'll do the same thing for this one. I'll put dope on it and then tape, and then we can put it into this fitting. But I'm gonna have to do it from the outside. So I'll get that done, and then we can go up top and get our first assembly done. All right, so we got that connection in to the outside, got it threaded on, it's nice and tight. Put our level here so we can make sure that this pipe is good and level, and that shows that it is. So I'm gonna go up. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use a scaffolding there, I think, because it's gonna be a bit easier. And I'll get up there and then I'll explain what the next step is. Okay, so I got our 90 on our upright piece there. And we're gonna install just a 12-inch run of pipe with a T and then a nipple here with a cap. And what this is gonna be for is for future upgrade. And I put that dang tape on backwards again. Dang it. I can never figure this tape out. I swear every time I put it on backwards. There, that's better. All right, so what this is going to be for is a future HVAC unit. Our initial HVAC unit is going to be electric, but if in the future we decide to change it to gas, we can do that. So this one will be not in use, but it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to have this stub out here now versus trying to add it in the future. So that should be good there. And now we can take this one back off. And then we can add our pipe dope and tape. And most likely I'll add the tape backwards. I'm sure I'll do that on every single joint to the last one. And that's when I'll figure it out. So I don't know where I left off. I've been working out here. So we got that stub out. I think I showed you that. That's just an extra stub out for an HVAC unit. I think I said that. But we got the pipe run most of the way down to the other side. We got like maybe 2 pieces left. You can see hopefully there. It's hard to see the camera, but we got it fastened or supported. Right now it's supported about every 10 feet or so, which is not enough, but it's just to be able to get it up here, and then I'll go back and fasten it the rest of the way after. Let me walk down here. I'll be right back. Why we're going this way. So I don't know if you can see it again. Right there by the truss, we got a T. That's going to go for the stove. We haven't done the stub out down the wall yet because, like I said, I'm just trying to get this done. And we are going to be short 1 piece of pipe. I miscalculated. So next time I go back to Menards, I'll have to pick up that piece of pipe so we can run down the wall. So I probably get the dryer done, and I'll hold off on the stove because my workbench is there. But I'm going to pull up this next piece and I'll show you how we're installing it. And we'll get this thing poked through the garage wall here in no time. Okay, so I changed up the way I'm doing it, and I'm putting the tape on first and then the pipe dope because it works a little bit better and the tape doesn't fall off. You don't need both dope and tape, but I'm doing both. So I got a coupler here. Stick the coupler on. Whoops. Wrong way. All right. There. So I'll go to the other side and we'll put our clamp so that then we can do our last little piece to the dryer and then we can poke through the garage wall. Okay, so the piece that goes towards the laundry where the dryer is going to be is 6 foot and we have 10-foot pieces. So we got our setup here because we're having to add threads to this black iron pipe. So I just got a pipe threader. I pulled out my big vise and then a pipe wrench. And then we just gotta thread it on there with some cutting oil. Because if you don't, it won't thread. So you would think this is good. It's kind of right there at the end. But if you look at this one here, I don't know if it'll pick up very well. But it's tapered. So with that, we have to go farther than the end here by, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so is kind of what I was doing, 1/8 to 1/4, somewhere in there. Because that gets that taper and then it'll slide into this joint farther so it can thread on there. So it's a little bit of a pain with this vise that's not fastened down. If that was fastened down, it would be a heck of a lot easier. And they do make automatic of those things, but I've had that one for quite a while and it works just fine. And for the little amount of plumbing that I do, it doesn't make sense to buy a battery powered or gas powered one. So I'll keep threading this one. The threads on that end are fine, the factory threads, so I'll just chase those. But these are having to add new threads. So I'll show you what these new threads look like once I get it finished. All right, so if it's not obvious, my threads are on the left and the factory threads are on the right. So you can see we went down the same depth and the threads on mine are clean. It's just that grease in there and a little bit of kind of slag from the metal. But I don't want to put water on it. So I just wipe it off with a towel and it gets it pretty clean and it threads no problem. So I'll chase the threads on the other side and we'll get this one installed. All right, so I got my T on it at the other end where the dryer is gonna be. And I got my coupling attached here, so now we can just go ahead and twist this pipe on. And then I did leave myself probably half a rotation on that T that I can turn it over if I need to, but hopefully I can just tighten this here and it'll be good enough to go over there. Ugh, I think I can get around one more time. Okay, so that's pretty good down there. Let's see if I can't show you guys. Let's see if it focuses. So it's pretty close to level by eye. I can't really tell. So we'll get this pipe leveled out here. We'll get it leveled out with our little bracket. And then from there I can put a level on that T. Make sure that's good. And then I suppose we can punch through the wall with that piece. I probably need like a 3-foot piece, I would say, over there. But I'll get my, I brought a piece of all thread, but I didn't bring my bracket, so I'm gonna get that and then get this one fastened up. All right, so we're out here in the garage now. That's our radiant heat wall. I went ahead the other day and added plywood, 3/4 inch plywood on top of the 1/2 inch sheathing that's already there. The reason I did that is so that I don't have to put drywall back there and I can get it done now. I didn't really want to bring drywall in just for that little bit. And it'll give me a good solid substrate. Going through the 3/4 inch plywood, the 1/2 inch sheathing, and then the girts every 2 foot behind it so we can mount stuff to. And then it'll look nice and clean. So I do have to paint and get my last 3/4 inch board up behind there, but it won't affect anything now because I don't know, I have to climb up the ladder, I think, to show you guys. So we drilled a hole on the inside of the house and it came out right here. So I just drilled a pilot hole and I'll take my hole saw and go through the other side. So that pipe will come through and then it'll come down and we'll mount it right here. So I'll be able to slide my last piece in behind there. And I'll have to get that painted tomorrow. So I'm gonna take my hole saw on the outside of the house. Earlier on, we used the 1¼ hole saw, which just leaves a little bit of a gap. This I'm gonna use 1¾ because there's really no good way to measure it. And I want a little bit of play. And it can get foamed, it's just on the inside. It's no big thing. So I'm gonna take my hole saw, we'll drill through, and then we can get a measurement for our last piece of pipe and get that threaded on there. I don't think probably not gonna get the manifold built tonight. We'll come out here tomorrow morning, we'll get the manifold. I'll show you how I'm gonna build the manifold, and then we can get that manifold mounted. And then it's gonna be secured similar to how the pipe was on the trusses. The other reason for poking through on the inside was because our end wall trusses are not like the regular trusses. They got a bunch of boards going, so I didn't want to hit a truss. So I kind of cleaned it out where it needed to be. Worst case, if a truss was going to be right here, I could just add like 2 90s and have a 90 come up and then have a 90 come out, and we could have raised it or lowered it, but luckily we were clear, so we're good. I didn't bring my tape measure, but I'll throw a tape measure in there and get it measured. We don't need it that far off the wall. I'll probably come off maybe, I don't know, 2-3 inches, and then we should be good there. Good morning. So I got that pipe up there yesterday. I put my stuff out through the wall, put a 90 on it, and we come down as a 2-foot piece. And I want that gas manifold mounted pretty high up on that wall because I plan to put cabinets covering everything. Not traditional cabinets. What I'll probably do is build doors out of like some hardware cloth so that it's got plenty of airflow. But that way you don't see all that stuff back there, or at least it's somewhat hidden. But the gas line I want outside of the cabinet. So those cabinets will probably just go up to the top of the door there. So that'll mostly be outside, and it won't have a top on it. It'll just be open. So it'll just kind of be doors. That's my idea, at least. That's a ways down. So anyway, we got that mounted down. So now we got to go build the manifold, which it was on the table yesterday. So if you paid attention, you may have seen it, but I got it laid out here. There. So I'll kind of go over it with you and show you what we got and what we're going to do, and then we can get it all installed. Okay, so at the first one that we put in where the HVAC unit's gonna go, we're not gonna do anything there. That one's just capped and is gonna sit. At the stove here, we need to add a valve off of the main line where that T is. And then the same thing for the dryer. And then these 3 valves are for the other items that are gonna be connected to gas. So here, coming out of that 2-foot post I just showed you, or 2-foot piece, there's a union. So that way, if we ever need to take this off, it'll be easier. As for these other ones, if we ever need to take it off, I don't know how we're gonna do it. I have to cut pipe and it'll be a mess. But at least for this manifold, I'm just gonna add a union, then it'll come down to a T. And then to the left side, the first one will be extra, just an extra valve for whatever we need. And this one will be the valve for our boiler for our radiant heat. That'll come out and go over that way. This one again is extra, so I just got a cap on it. We can always add another valve if we need to. And then this one is for the water heater that'll come out and go to the right side. And then it's just capped in case, on both ends, in case we need to add more. For the little bit of pipe, it makes sense just to put it in now. Like I said, in case we ever need to add any more. The only other option would be put a 90 here, but then if you put a 90, you gotta cut all this off. And it's just a pain, so I'd rather just have this. So that's all there is to that. So now that we got this laid out, I'm gonna go ahead and take it all apart, piece by piece, and we'll get it glued up, or put the joint compound on and then screw it on, and then we can go ahead and get it mounted. And then I'll explain kind of our system once we get it mounted or while we're mounting it. All right, so the camera died at some point when I was putting this together, but this black pipe gets your hands nasty, so I just let it ride. We got it together, we got our union on, and this is kind of heavy, so I'm just gonna put it up there and we'll get it installed. Come on. There you go. Oh, you're getting me. Right down to the end. That's how it goes, I guess. Put the dang tape on backwards. Now that I'm getting this stuff all over my hands. All right, camera battery died on me, but we got it all up there and I got it braced. So I put probably way more than we need. Put 3 of those brackets on this side. So this thing is solid. It don't move at all. I do need to add some more on the inside, but that's nice and solid. So what we'll do is we'll run CSST off of here, come back to the wall, and then that can go out to where we need to go. So what I was saying earlier, I think most propane comes out of a regulator at about 10 PSI on the tank. And then it comes into the house at 7 inches water column. I don't know what that conversion is. 7 inches water column to PSI. It's kind of crazy the way they do propane. But typical into your house is at 7 inches water column. So we're gonna run a 2 PSI system because we're running a gas water heater and boiler, and they take a heck of a lot more BTUs. So we will have a regulator on the outside of the house. So regulator on the tank will be 10 PSI, regulator outside of the house will be 2 PSI. And then at each unit, just because of the way we ran our system, at each unit we'll have a regulator. So the stove will have a regulator for 7 inches water column. The dryer will have the same thing. And then in here, we'll drop it down. And then the water heater, I'm not sure what size regulator. I'll have to talk to their propane company and see what we do for that, because I think the water heater we're going to end up getting is like 140, 150,000 BTUs. Typical electric water heater is like 40,000 BTUs. So the gas ones are quite a bit hotter in that aspect. So if we just came in right here out the front, we could just run our one regulator for the whole system. But being that we came that way, and the length of the pipe, you lose BTUs the longer you run. And this is about a 70, it goes up, what, 10, 64? It's probably 75 feet, 80 feet. So you're gonna lose quite a bit of BTUs over to here. So that's kind of the gist of the system, if that makes sense. So that's good enough for now. I'll go back and secure it, every truss, every 4 feet. But we are ready now. We'll have to pressure test it, which I'll probably work on that. But once it's pressure tested, check for leaks, it'll be good to go for our propane. So that's where we'll leave this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next video.